Well, hello everyone. Have right here a talk about understanding about patience. What does it usually mean when we do talk about being patient on something? And everybody might say is toward it. Yeah, well, I know exactly what it means. It means that you have to wait. It's like a kind of example of waiting in line and waiting for your turn just to be able to do something. And a lot of times you want to know too is toward it. Yeah. So how do you think that you will be able to explain that whenever it comes to understanding about patience? Looking at distill files and also that understanding about PDF files and how to work those files and everything. But still, talk about with patience right here. You have right here is an example of being patient, waiting in line, waiting your turn just to be able to do something, right? And you begin to warm toward it. That is kind of like an example of what you do every day there at your desk. If you're going to be working at a desk or an office area, then yeah, it's basically another example of what you call is toward to wait your turn. Be patient with the process. So it sure seems that way that every time you think about that and you're warned toward it, yeah, well, what is the difference between sitting and having placing something on your lap and compared to actually putting it on your desk or whichever? But still, but I have right here with distiller right here. But you see this right here. I put this together right here, and in case of anybody's worries, toward yeah, what exactly does it mean to be patient about something? And it's another word of saying this is toward yeah, patient. So, in a lot of ways, it sure seems that way that when we talk about being patient about something, it's basically saying this toward it, yeah, please wait. So, yeah, please wait right here. And in case of anybody's wondering toward it, yeah, how do you even know if possible that, people might say that that's what it always says. That's what you always read that right there. So if you're going to be reading any documents, right, and people may want to know too, is to where to please wait. Yeah, but really, what difference would that maybe make is toward if you were to say that something like that you please wait 13 minutes or something like that. 13 minutes is not too much time to ask for. And according to the calculations, U102 is toward it, based on arithmetic or whichever, that, how much is that time equal to whenever it comes to counting? If we're going to be doing any sorts of understanding about typical math or something like that. But still, every time you think about that, and you're always 102 is toward, yeah, be patient. Wait. Wait your turn. And so everybody might say that, okay, well, how do you even spell that? How do you spell your turn? How do you spell your turn unless, in case of anybody say that, unless if you're talking about a U-turn or something like that, everybody might even say too that put a capital U and I say, yeah, U-turn or something like that. You turn around or whichever it is, but, still, that, people may 102 is toward it. When we do speak about patience, by the way, that everybody might even tell you is this toward it. Yeah. What sorts of words of any general, of any kind, do you think that you would much rather use whenever it comes to being patient about something? And everybody might say is toward it. Yeah, you follow the instructions, but then they still have you on hold for whichever reason. And you're thinking is toward, oh, okay, yeah, we'll just be patient with them. They'll take care of it or whichever. But still, that everybody might even say is toward it. Yeah. So what are you going to do in the meantime? Read the instructions, and a lot of times that's usually what they say. Read the directions, and they might even say is toward it. Well, really, read the instructions. Read the directions, and that's usually what they say. And like everybody might say that, yeah. Well, sometimes that this is how they were too. Read the directions. Read the directions right there, and then they would put like, yeah, anybody might say that if you get a printout of any kind or something like that, what exactly, how do you think that they would word it right here? Yeah, read the directions right here. And if you, especially if you're in a hurry to try to take care of something or whichever, then it's possible that you might get the direct orders to where to read the instructions. Read the directions, and in case of anybody's wanting to know too, that yeah. So read the read the instructions. Read the instructions right there. And so everybody might even say is toward, oh, okay, what is the difference? And so it's pretty much is that, toward it, the directions are basically means toward it's factory printed, but the instructions pretty much means is toward it was written by a person. And I don't know if anybody has really ever thought about it that way, but the difference between the instructions and the directions, though, is that there is a difference between the fact that, you can kind of tell that the directions the instructions and the directions, that those are two different sources of information there. One of them is handwritten, and the other one was actually computer printed, factory printed or something like that. But still, what is the difference? And everybody might say is toward, yeah, well, you know, uh, I really don't even know, in case if we're all warners, as toward how do you even know if this is going to work? Does this work here? How do you know if this works? How do you even know if this works? So that would be sort of something that maybe you'll be talking with the AI assistant about. Is that how do you even know if this works? Based on experience or whichever, but still, maybe everybody else will maybe even say too that, well, I tried it last time and it seemed like it worked just fine, but still, that I tried it this time and it seems like there was a few technical problems or so, but still, be patient with it. And so yeah, so every time you think about that, then you're always 102 is toward it that read the directions, read the instructions, but still that they be patient with it. And so people might even say too is toward it, yeah, well, it sure seems that way. The best thing that you can actually do is to think, think about testing. Testing ability. So if you try something new, chances are, yeah, if you try something new, this is supposed to be a test right here. So in case of anybody's wondering that, if you run into any problems, though, what's wrong with testing the equipment just to make sure that everything is working fine? And let's just say, if you do want to trying something new, or maybe if you do verify maybe a couple of things, you're testing the ability right here. So really, in case of anybody's wondering toward it, yeah, that what's the difference between it? Like, well, really, that how do you even know if it even works? But still, so whenever you think about that, then you always want to know too that that hey, that whenever you look at a document like in a really ready, you want to have and now, if you're going to be ordering something from a catalog or something like that, and your 102 is toward it's all about being patient with it, right? But people maybe want to know too is toward, oh, okay, yeah, that, if there's different ways of how you pronounce it and how you recognize it or whichever, but still, in case if anybody were to put on here, please wait 13 minutes, while we go ahead and process your information. Why do you think that anybody would even think too this to where, okay, yeah, but that's what you said last time, but then I didn't get it. But you read the instructions on here, it's like, please be patient with us. We're working on it, okay? Read the instructions and we'll get back to you. Read the instructions and we'll get back to you. How do you even know if it even works? Well, because we tried it before. Well, I don't know. That don't really explain everything, does it? That just really says is toward it, yeah, well, for sure that It's all about the fact about is toward it. You need to get some practice with it about how it works first, before the magic begins. So, but on the other hand, that you always begin to warn us toward it. If 13 minutes, please wait 13 minutes were to be printed on every single page on the instructions, I am sure everybody may say is toward, yeah, well, chances are that it's maybe going to work if you would have said that it takes only 13 minutes to do this. But if you just say that, please be patient with us, it takes time doing our best or whichever, what are the chances are that a lot of those customers or clients are really going to trust those instructions based on what was given, just to do the job. So I just really think in a lot of ways too that whenever you do think about it, if you put 13 minutes on there on all your instructions, what are the chances are that maybe they're going to trust you than compared to saying to please be patient with us, we'll get to you, we'll get back to you or something like that. And everybody say, yeah, I look at it all as like just like putting your name on it. As long as my name is on there and as long as I'm able to recognize it, I'll go ahead and wait. But still, I think everybody else will maybe say that, yeah, I would feel more comfortable using this if my name was on there because I want to know if that's really me learning this stuff or if it's you take credit for somebody else or whichever. But anyway, yeah, but that's what I have to say about that. That every time you think about that in your 102 is toward a hey, that please be patient with it, but still, that read the instructions. I look at that more like just like placing a backpack of paperwork on your lap right there. I look at that more like laying something flat on your lap and just looking at it just to kind of observe and just knowing that, hey, how does this work right here? Everybody might say that, yeah, you put stuff on your lap for a reason, by the way. It's not just because that you're holding it and keeping an eye on whatever it is, but everybody might say that it's just like putting it in your lap. It's just like putting it in your lap, but only the fact about trying to understand, okay, yeah, 13 minutes. It only takes 13 minutes just to do this or whichever, but a lot of people might say that, yeah, well, it takes time. That's usually what you hear. But anyway, I thought I'd talk about that. Anyway, talk to you. Take care and bye. I also want to mention right here is that you got these menus right here, but talking about understanding about PDF files and receipts. That whenever it comes to understanding about these PDF files right here, that a receipt is not just verification that you paid for something. You also need it just to respond to the surveys, the questions in the surveys. Questions in the surveys or anything else, any other source of feedback that you have. But other than that, talk about understanding about being patient, right?